Good day, everyone. This is your Sir Balo, and for this lesson, I will discuss finally the one of the most important topics that you need to know as a database developer or perhaps a programmer in general. So most often, uh, there will be cases talaga that when you're going to query data or columns, uh, sometimes the columns uh, na i-combine mo will be kukunin mo from another table, no? So that is why this is where joins, ito na yung pinaka ano niya, gamit na MySQL joining of tables. So since the clause that we're going to use in order to join tables is the join clause, no? It's used to combine rows from two or more tables based on a related column between them. Based on a related column between them. So in other words, we combine two or more tables based on a column that is may or may not be existing between them. No? Anyway, this will be clarified later as we get into examples. So let's look at a selection from the orders table. So this is the orders table, and as you notice, we have this customer ID. Now, I guess I haven't really discussed this yet, no. But the customer ID, this one is what we refer to as a foreign key. Ito customer ID na column na to. So, bakit foreign key siya? Kasi it's basically a primary key from a different wait lang foreign key. Okay? So, pag sinabing key, column which is primary key from another table. So, yun lang yung ibig sabihin ng foreign key. It's basically a column that is a primary key from another table. So, in this case, we have the customer ID column. This take note, this since this is the orders table, obviously the order ID is the primary key of the orders table. But this customer ID is a foreign key from the customer ID table. So yun, take note of this, no? Because okay, so then look at the selection for the customers table. So yun, as I mentioned, no, ito and ito, these are related, very related, no? Kaya I mentioned dito, no, related columns between them. So later, we'll see why, no? So once again, just as what I have shared a while ago, foreign key is just a column which is a primary key from another table. So in this case, the customer ID is the primary key of our customers table, and it's also existing in the orders table as a foreign key. Yan. So if you're going to interpret this one, no, if you're going to combine these two, so basically in this first record, okay, in this first record, customer ID 2, meron siyang order date. So in other words, this customer ID 2, customer ID whose value is 2, nag-order siya around this date, no? This year, month and date, no? So sino ba tong customer 2? If we're going to trace it, si customer ID 2 is Ana Trujillo and pa blah blah blah. Ang haba naman ng pang. And yung contact name niya is Ana, and then country niya is Mexico. So yun. And if we're going to read also this second record, we have yung order ID ng second record na to, 10309, customer ID 37. And then yung order date niya is 1996, September 19. So, sino ba tong customer ID 37. It's not specified here, perhaps. Wala siya dito. Pero, kasi ano lang to if we're going to check the database, we will see. Makikita natin to. Sino to? 37. But this is just a simplified example. Anyway, notice that the customer ID column in the orders table refers to the customer IDs in the customer table. No? So, the relationship between the two tables is above the customer ID column. So, take note, relationship. So, you will encounter this often, no? Especially if we're going to discuss na in the future lessons about entity relationships na concepts. So, masasabi natin that the orders table and the customers table have a relationship. So, parang tao lang. Meron silang relasyon. Okay, so why? No? Bakit? Kasi it's because the orders ID contains a foreign key, in this case a customer ID. So that's why na masasabi that they have a relationship. No? That customer's ID is has a relationship with the orders table, and the orders table has a relationship in customers, vice versa. No? Okay, so then we can create the following SQL statement that contains an inner join. Okay, that selects records that have matching values in both tables. Okay, so wait lang. Okay, so just to explain what's going on right here, no. So we have the following. Wala pa tong alias na nilagay dito. So but just to break this query down, or break it down, no. We have the following: select orders ID. So we have the first column, the order ID from the orders table. Then customer name column from the customers table. And then we have the orders date from our orders table. So yan. Now wala siya dito nakalagay, although despite having isa lang yung nilagay dito na table, but if you're going to since meron siyang inner join, so masasabi na in this query we are specifying involved dito dalawang tables. Okay, dalawang tables ang involved dito. The first is the orders ID, the orders table, and the second is the customers table. So inner join, I will explain this in the short while. Anong ibig sabihin nitong inner join? But basically, no, we have this condition. Okay, this is a condition. Itong highlight ko. So once again, these are the following columns that we need to retrieve or get, and these are the following tables that are involved: orders table, customers table, and then we will join them through using inner join. Now the condition is dapat yung orders, yung customer ID ng orders table is equals to the customer's ID of the customer's table. So ganon. So in other words, if we're going to check here, since inner wait lang. I guess na lang, just proceed na lang dito, no. Medyo but at least you have an idea on how this how do we join tables. So as we just specify the tables, the columns, the tables, and what type of join yung gagamitin natin, and then the condition. But eto medyo mahirap pa ito explain, no. How was this derived, ito yung orders ID. But Anyway, this next content right here, this will explain ano yung mga ibig sabihin ng mga iba-ibang klaseng tables. Okay, so we have the following supported types of join in MySQL. So we have the first, inner join. So when I say inner join, returns records that have matching values in both tables. So here is kindly focus on this one. Ito to. Okay. So we have the first table, we have the second table. So those if you're familiar with the Venn diagram, no? Kung familiar kayo sa Venn diagram, this is it. This is what's happening, no? This first circle represents the first table. The second circle represents the second table. And when we say inner table, yung records na common between the table 1 and table 2, yun lang yung mare-return. Okay? Kaya ito yung ibig sabihin niya. In inner join, it will return records that have matching values on both tables. So we will see later now through examples. So in other words, since inner join, whatever is in between, what's common? Kung ano yung common between these two, the table 1 and the 2, only those records that are common between the two, yun lang yung mare-return. Okay, then we have left join. Returns all records. The left join returns all records from the left table and the matched records from the right table. Okay, so in other words, this is a combination of the inner join, the records that are common between the two tables, and the records from the left table lang. Okay. So if you are confused, if you are confused with the explanations right here, this is the visual explanation what's going on. Okay, so this entire circle represents the records in our first table or table 1, and since left join nga return all records from the left table, pati yung match records from the right table. So kasali din yung mga records that are also common between table 1 and 2. And then we have also the right join, so kabaliktaran with the left join. This time, all the records from the right table and the matched records from the left table. Okay. And then the last is the cross join. We'll just return all records. So from the inner join, that left join, right join, basta lahat ng tables, all records from the both tables in general. Okay, so we proceed with the first. So the first one is wait lang, naglo-loading pa yung yung browser. Okay, so it's taking a little while. So baka if you're wondering bakit itim yung, kasi it's supposed to be white, no, if this was not in dark mode, but since nag-loading pa yung page ng website, so it's just blank. Okay, I will just ayun, okay, so nag load na siya. Okay, so first, since this is just the first one out of the 4 types of join na was mentioned a while, we have the inner join. Okay, so the inner join keyword selects records that have matching values on both sides. So as you can see, no, I hope na klaro ninyo, no, table 1, table 2, and then the matching values in both sides. So ito yun, yung green. So here's the syntax. So we already seen this a while. No, select the column names and then from the table 1, and then what's important here is the keyword inner join. and then the table 2 on table 1 column name is equals to table 2 column name. Okay, so let's have a demo, no? This time ganun pa rin, orders table and then customers table. Yan. Okay, so the following SQL statement selects all orders with customer information. Okay, so if we're going to copy this one and we'll apply this to our phpMyAdmin. Wait lang. Okay, so let's I think I should hide this one. Sandali lang, ha. Hide ko lang ito. Okay. Okay, so we have as specified, no, our columns. So we will get the order ID from the orders and the customer name column from our customers table. So this is the first table, the table 1, and then the table 2 is customers. So inner join on orders customer ID is equals to customers customer ID. Okay, go natin. Okay, so if we're going, as you notice na kung ano yung specified natin, orders ID, customer's name. So ito na yung binalik sa atin. This is what we have retrieved from our database. Yan. So orders ID, customer's ID, and yun. Now I will demonstrate this time using alias. Okay. So as O, wait lang, ha. Wait lang. Oh. As C. Okay. Then ito, instead of orders, we'll replace this one as O. And then customers C. And then instead of orders, O. And then instead of customers, C. Yun. So medyo, this one is slightly mas readable, mas madali na siyang basahin, no? Kasi obviously alam natin this is orders, and C is from the customers, no? So let's see. Actually wala namang changes with the query results, but the point here is mas madali na siyang basahin if we're going to use the alias. So once again, I highly emphasize that's the importance of alias if you're joining two or more tables, no? Para mas siya, organized, no? Okay, now just to explain what happened, no? I guess it's better if I will show you first. Or ano ba, paano ba to? Let's have a paano ba? Okay, ganito na lang. I'll try to create a different para ma-compare natin, no? Ganito na lang, yeah. Let's combine this into, oops, wait lang. Okay, so please bear with me for a moment, no? trying to put this, ayan, ay okay, na-separate na siya. So siya na customers orders, and this one is customer. Okay. Okay, so yun. Now, basically yung nangyayari ngayon, no, is that what I did is just I sineparate ko yung I have two windows dito sa browser ko. The left one is from the orders, okay, and then the right one is from the customers table. Now, as we check, no, the customers table natin, it has the following columns: order ID, customer ID, and what's this, employee. Yeah, I think it's employee ata to. Anyway, whereas yung customers, we have the customer ID and the customer name. Now, what happens in the inner join? Diba, sinabi yung inner join is records that match, that selects records that have matching values in both tables. So yun nga, as represented by this the area that's highlighted on that falls in between the two tables. So what happens is, since yung dito, yung sa natin, yung condition natin, no, yung to be specific, this is the foreign key in the orders table, and also which is also the primary key of our customers table. So take note, foreign key from our customers table, and then primary key of our customers table for it. So take note that you should go on that in the condition, dapat parehas to. Diyan lang sila magkakaiba dito sa table. Okay, one of the two should be foreign key, and the other one should be a primary key. So yun. That's in order for us to be able to have a successful join ng table. So going back, no, since inner join nga to, so matching values on both sides. So what happens is, diba, may customer ID dito, 90. So dito, wait lang. Okay. So as you notice, customer ID equals to customer orders table, customer ID equals to customer table, customer ID. Now, since both tables have the value of 90, okay, take note, both tables have the value of 90. So in other words, itong first record na to, this order ID 1048 is kasali. Okay? And if we check also 81. So since 81 is existing in both the order and the customer table, so kasali rin to. Okay? And I guess we have a total of 196 orders, and we also have a total of 91 total. So therefore, yun nga, main point ko lang nito is, if whatever values not existing for, in this case, since customer ID, since customer ID 90 is existing in orders table and is also existing in the customer ID dito sa customer table, yung 90, no? Both of these table, both the values in the customer ID here is on the left and on the customer ID on the right, the 90 value is existing both. So that's why this one here is kasali siya. Okay? And since we are retrieving the order ID at customer name, so yeah, kukuha natin yung order ID 90 and then customer name is Wilman Kala. Okay, I guess this is a bit masyadong malaki yung perhaps I would probably look for a different table na lang on the next or maybe I should modify na lang on the spot, no? Wait lang kasi feel ko this is still confusing on your end, the joining tables. Napaka-importante naman to na concept, so I guess I should make this one very sige, let's make this very simple. And now please bear with me for a moment, no? Wait lang. Okay, so first we have a teacher table, no? I'll make some modifications with this one so that lang. So anyway, if you can fast forward na lang the video if this is a bit anyway, for now, for a few minutes, let me establish first our table kasi I think I believe masyadong malaki yung table in order for you to understand the concept of joining. Wait lang I will make some changes with the structure. So anyway, although this isn't part of the video about joins, at least you will witness how I will modify this table, no? So I'm going to make an additional table. So okay, so you make sure na nasa you're at the structure na menu on your teacher table, no? Tapos will in here sa baba add one column kasi isa lang naman yung i-add ko na column, and gusto ko isingit dito sa after the salary, so that's why okay na to, no? I'll just go and then department ID. So the reason I created a department ID is because I will create a department na table after a short while. Okay, so this is already okay. Okay, so now we have a finally now we have additional column in our teacher table, and I'll make some okay, so I'll make this one null, and then I'll make this one ay oo nga pala, wait lang. I should dapat ano sana chinek code. I'll have to kana naman yung structure i-change ko na naman. So if you want your columns to be nullable, so yeah, see according to our structure, yung department ID bawal yung null, no? So nakalimutan ko to. Meron pa tong ano, I should have checked. Anyway, I will just change naman na lang bakit ganito? Change ko lang. Okay, dapat ano to? This should be okay, so dapat i-check ko to. Yan. Ito dito ako nagkulang, no? Dito ako nagkulang. Please don't interpret this literally. Baka iba yung maisip nyo. Anyway, yun, we should check this one in order for us for this column to accept null values. May ano dito. Ayan. Okay, so if you're curious, no, every corresponding changes here in our PHP, meron siyang ano, corresponding SQL code, alter table, and this is the syntax. We will not dive into the SQL for changing the structure of our tables. If you want to explore, you can just study the MySQL MW3 schools, and you can also see the ano naman, the alternative codes. Anyway, okay na, no? Pwedeng nullable yung value ng ano natin, ng ating. So I will change this one to null. No, or rather I just ano na lang i-check ko na lang to, no. Okay, and yan. Okay, so we have a null value for Charmaine value. Okay, and this one I'll set the department ID as 1, and then as 2. Okay, so this is just a very simple table, no? Teacher table. Currently tatlong records, department ID 1 and 2, and then isa null. So we'll see in a short while. Now I'm going to create the department table, which will contain the departments of our employees. Okay, so ID, and then name. Okay, very simple lang, no? Just the the ID and then a name, and then the name, since name is obviously not a character, integer, so dapat character siya, and we'll specify this siguro mga 30 yung maximum length niya. Okay, So since this one is ID is obviously a primary key, so we need to make sure that the index is primary key. Okay, just click the go, and then we check this one, auto increment. Kasi if you're not going to check the auto increment, you're going to manually, every time you insert new records, you need to specify the value of your ID. Okay, and then we save. Okay, so now we have the departments, and I will insert new. Okay, just to make things faster. Hala, ba't ganun? Sa SQL, sorry. Sa SQL ako. Although there is yung insert na menu dito, this is the shortcut, no? If you want to insert values without relying on SQL, I kinda prefer this one kasi I don't know, mas convenient sa akin eh. ID and then the name, values 1, of course, STCS. Ay, sorry. Wait lang ah. Ay. Okay. Then next, okay. So this is the reason, yeah, ito yung pinaka reason bakit I prefer the SQL rather than the insert menu. Kasi you can just easily copy paste and modify on the spot. Just few lines of code. Kaya ko ng magawa yung maka-insert ako ng 4 records instantly. And then tama ba? Oh, I'm not sure with that. Ito na lang. Okay, so we're done with I will just insert lang 4 departments. And take note, no? Take note yung sa teacher table natin, we only have employees na yung isa, yung department niya is STCS, yung department ng isa is SOE. And then, so far, wala pa tayong employees or teachers under these departments. So, this is something that we need to take note. Kay, I intentionally did that, no? Kasi, in order for you to grasp the different types of SQL. Okay, so finally we have inserted columns, and now for the actual. No. Kasi yung table kanina, that was slightly it's too masyado ng maraming records, no. It would be difficult for you to understand the inner join if we're going to use a large database. So by the way, everything that's going on right now, this demonstration is on the spot. So that's why I didn't really prepared this one. Anyway, okay, so once again, I will put side by side yung natin, yung mga tables natin. Yan, okay. So, wait lang, ano ko lang to. Okay, so now we have okay. On the left side, we have the teacher table, and these are the following records natin. Okay, and take note of their uh, corresponding departments for this teacher. Ano siya? Department ID niya is 1 and this one is 2, and then the other one is null yung value niya. And for this one, on the right side, these are the list of our departments, no. Yeah. Now, just to demonstrate, no, we'll insert another, another wait lang ha. Okay. So this time, what I will do now is I will create a SQL statement, a command, no, in which I will be querying columns from both the teacher and the department table. So this time I will ano ba? From first, no, sa teacher table, I want to get the ID and the name. ID and name from the teacher table. So ID and name, and on the other side sa department, I want also the name. So take note, both tables have similar names, ID and name sa teacher at saka ID and name sa department. So this is where also the alias comes in, yung importance niya. Kasi if we don't put aliases, it will be confusing for our MySQL to identify anong name yung ibig mong sabihin, anong ID, to which kaninong ID ba yung kukunin natin. So that is why we need to specify an alias. So first, the left table is for our teacher table, and then we add an alias T. Okay, so of course we're going to modify this one. We'll make this as TID, teacher ID, and then T name. So finally, no, ma-distinguish na natin that these two columns are from our these two columns are from our teacher table. And then finally, the next one, inner join the table on the right, department as D. Okay, and then on, okay, ano ko lang siguro dito sa baba na lang. Okay, on, so this is the most important one, the condition. Okay, so it's important when you're going to create the condition, you need to identify the primary key and foreign key. Okay, so in this case, the primary key, the key that's common, that is common between the two, in this case yung ID, no? ID, yung ID ng yung ID ng department, yung department ID, and then the ID of the department table. But basically, ang point na dito is uh, yun, the foreign key, di ba, sinabi ko, we need to identify the foreign key and primary key. There's also common between the two, related between the two. In this case, this is the foreign key, no? Yung teacher table natin contains a foreign key, department ID, which obviously came from, which also primary key sa department table natin, which is ID. Okay, so therefore this one right here and this one right here are the same. Okay, this is what no? So therefore in here sa condition natin, so pwede mo lang interchange, but I prefer, let's say, the first, the table on the right and the left sa teacher. So dapat T dot department ID equals to the table on the right, D dot ID. And yun, we're done. Okay, just to recap everything. First the select, and then the columns that we're going to retrieve from both tables. Ay, nakalimutan ko nga pala the table. Okay, so the first two here, the ID, the name, this came from our teacher table. This D, the name, this is name from our department. No, in other words, the department name, and then the teacher, the name of the teacher, and the ID of the teacher. No? And then okay, this one right here is our table 1, or the table on the left, and then we add a alias, then inner join, and then our table on the right, or our table 2, no, department, and then we add a alias, and we add an alias for this as D, and then and then the condition, T dot department ID is equals to D dot department ID. And then we execute this one, and you'll see what's gonna happen. Okay, so yun. As you notice, ito yung pinalik niya na result. Okay, so we have the following columns: ID, which is from our teacher ID, name from our teacher name, no, teacher table, the name for our department. So as you notice, ID1, Stephen Balo, name STCS, 3, John Raymond, and then SOE. Diba? So we were able to join two tables, no, that are related to one another, no. Kasi if we're going to trace Stephen Balo in our original table, in this first teacher, no, Stephen Balo, yung department ID niya is 1, which is STCS. So kaya STCS yung naging value dito. And on the other hand, John Raymond Padalon 2, department ID niya 2. And according here, yung 2 is SOE sa department. So that is why ito yung lumabas. Now, this is the most important thing that you need to take note. Okay? So bakit dalawa lang yung ni-return na results natin? Bakit hindi 4? 3, no? Bakit hindi 4? No? So that is because of our inner join and this one. Okay? So take note, inner join, no, yung specify natin. So which means according to our definition right here, it matches the values in both tables. So again, the values that are existing on both tables, yung records whose yung value niya, in this case, if we look into Okay, for this case, Stephen Balo. Okay, department ID. Does this exist also in our department na table? So yes, ba? Department ID 1 existing also here. So therefore, kasali to. How about Calderon? Department ID 2. Does this exist also in department or in vice versa? No? So yes. No? So therefore, kasali rin to. As well as this one. No? How about ang null? So null, there's no null. In fact, bawal yung null na ID sa department kasi primary key is not allowed to have a null value. So therefore, this one does not exist. And therefore, this will be excluded. Di siya magiging kasali sa i-return na results. How about this one? If we check here sa department natin na table, the 3 na value. Do we have employees that have department ID nga 3? Diba? Wala. No? So, therefore, wala rin to. Dito rin to kasali. How about itong 4? This record, whose ID is 4. Do we have the teachers that belong to this department na yung ID niya is 4? So, wala rin, no? So, therefore, wala rin. These 3 and this 4 are not. They are also excluded. So, only this one right here and this one this one right here, ito lang yung ma-return, makukuha natin with our inner join of tables. So, yan. That's the total explanation of basically how was this derived, no? So, this will be further be this may look unclear, kung medyo hindi pa malabo, no, sa iyo. Meron pa tayong another example later. Ngayon. For now, this is a bit advanced. Just joining 3 tables. At least, let's proceed with the other one. Left join. No. So the left join returns all records from the left table and the matching records, if any, from the right table. Okay. So last time, left join syntax, same pa rin. Yung pinagkaiba lang is the keyword that we're going to use right here. So this is left join. Okay. So, yung gagawin na natin is just, okay. Take note of this picture first. Try to remember this, and this will be the main guide. Will help you understand what's going on right here. So, once again, we have the following. We're not going to change anything. Intact na to. This is just what we want now. This time, we're going to modify this one. And instead of inner, we'll be using our left join. Okay, and we'll see what's going to happen. And there you have it. So, as you notice, no? Now, this time, kung kanina, in the inner join, we only have 2 records right here. This time, we will have 3 records now. So, kasali na si Charmaine Balo. And now, the explanation is bakit, how, no? It's because of this one, no? So, check. Returns all records from the left table. So, di ba? Our left table is the teachers table, right? No? And since it was mentioned here, all records. So, ilan ba yung ilan ba yung records natin? Diba? We have 3 records in total, right, as of this moment, no? We have 3 records in our teachers table. Wait lang. Okay. We have 3 records. And so as mentioned, no, all records. Now, if there are matching records from both, from the right table, and or in this case, sa department natin, so kasali din sila. So that is why the what happens with saan to? Asa na yun? Okay. This one, the value of our department ID 1 is also existing in our department ID dito sa department table. So kasali ito. And then this one, this value 2 in our department ID sa teacher table is also existing in our department na table. So therefore these 2 records, this one and this one, they are included sa result dito. Okay? And this one, although this null does not exist here in our IDs sa department table, but since it's a left join, so regardless, kasali pa rin to. Kasi all records, no, regardless if may kamatch ba siya dito sa kabila or wala. So yun, that's the basic explanation of this. And go straight ahead na lang with the right join. Okay, so this time ang right join, it's the other way around na po, no? This time it will return all records from the right table, no, and the matching records, if any, from the left table. So it's the other way around na naman. So if we ayan, okay, so that's why yun. So now you can see that we now have 4 records right here. So kung ilan yung records dito sa departments natin, 4, that will be the number of records also that will be returned in our results, no, sa query results natin. And as you notice that yung ID for this record, this particular record, yung ka-third record, yung ID niya is null, yung name niya is null. Same also with this department SNHS, yung ID niya is null and name niya is null. And that is because if we check in our table sa teacher, wala naman tayong teachers that belong to the SAS and the SNHS na department. So that is why the values returned here is null. Yun. Okay, and once again, always, no, present pa rin, no, Stephen Balo and John Raymond Calderons, because their department ID are also existing in the departments na na table, no. So kaya ano siya, no. Okay, so I hope that you're able to grasp the difference between inner join, no, the left join, and then the right join. Now the last one is the cross join, which is basically all. If we're going to check our Venn diagram, no, so lahat na ng ng records from both tables. So kung wait lang. Okay, this time I will change this from right join. Okay, I'll just modify this one and I'll change this to cross join. Okay, and I will execute the statement. And as you see, wala, bakit ganun? I think wait lang let me just double check. Right now, what I'm currently doing is I'm checking if does MySQL support cross join. Kasi baka hindi siya so just find it suspicious and odd. Bakit? Although to be honest, I haven't really tried the cross join. No, hindi ko pa try. Yung na ano ko lang, counter ko lang is the inner join, the left join, the right join. I haven't tried the join, the cross join. But this, I assume that since this is existing in our MySQL, so I guess this works. Oh, okay. I see. So, ito pala yung mali ko. Okay, I already got it. Nakuha ko na. Bakit ganon? Yun lang pala. Yung gagawin lang pala, no? I'll just delete the mismo. The condition. No? Ito lang. Okay? As specified right here. Sana yun? This one. Ito. Na. So yun, wala na siyang condition. Yan kasi okay, so ito pala. So if you add a where clause, just like what we did kanina, di natin tinanggal. The cross join will produce the same result as the inner join. So kaya pala naging ganon. So we'll see now in actual ano na yung mangyayari if we do this cross join. Okay, so we have a total of 12 records. We'll see. Ayun. So yeah, this is the result. It's weird. So anyway, let's check na lang this lesson right here and let's see what's going on right now. Yun nga, the cross join returns all records from both tables to table 1. And yeah, as mentioned, the cross join can potentially return very large result set. So imagine kanina that our take note, yung sa teacher table natin 3 records lang yun, and then yung department table natin 4 records lang yun siya. So naging 12 bigla, no? Yung return na values. No. Okay. So the cross join keyword returns all matching tables from both tables whether the other table matches or not. So if there are rows in customer that do not match in orders, or if there are rows in orders that don't match the customers, those rows will be listed as well. Okay. And I guess andali lang. I think I've read somewhere na dali lang. I think the if I'm not mistaken, no, the basic explanation kung bakit naging ano siya, no, dumami yung ano niya is because if we're going to multiply the the number of values of and the number of records in our teacher equals 3 and the number of records in our department 3 times 4, that's equals to 12. So I guess that's the reason, no, bakit ano siya na naging 12 records siya. Okay. Okay. I'm not really an expert with the cross join, but let me see if what I can. But that's my suspicion. Yan yung suspicion ko eh. Kaya ano siya, kaya naging 12, no. It's just it returns all combinations, no. Parang if you're familiar with the Cartesian product, so ganun yung nangyari. So yeah, as you notice, 1 3 4 1 3 4 1 3 1 3 4 1 3 4, yeah, and then first STCS followed by SOE followed by SAS and then followed by SNHS. So yeah, definitely this is a Cartesian product. You know, if you're familiar with your sets, this is a Cartesian product. Kaya naging 12 siya. So again, 12 records. This was derived from kasi 3 records pa yung sa teacher and then 4 records yung sa department, and kaya naging ganito yung. So yeah, that concludes our lesson about joining tables. For now, we'll just focus on 2 tables lang, but if you want to explore how to combine 3